Welcome to Mean Brews. Today we're going to study an unconventional style, a style that has very little data, and that's Italian Grape Ale. A couple months back, I was posting on the Reddit homebrewing site, which is great if you haven't checked it out. Almost 1 million visitors to that Reddit site. And I was approached by a fellow YouTube vlogger, BC at Doin the Most. I'll post a link here in the description and you can check out his channel. We got to talking and realized we were both from Oklahoma and decided we wanted to do a sort of a collaboration video. We're in the midst of the quarantine for COVID-19 and, we thought we'd do an Italian ale because the name quarantine is derived from Italian. So I gave him a couple choices. I said we can do an Italian Pilsner or we can do an Italian Grape Ale. If you've ever seen his channel, you'd realize that Italian Grape Ale is right up his alley and what he's doing and how he's doing his beers and meads and other fermented products on that show. So we decided both to brew a unique Italian Grape Ale of our own creation. And then we'd share the beers with each other and do a live tasting. And that's what this video is all about. So when I looked at trying to develop this style and to create something that used familiar flavors but was a new product, I thought, grape juice, that's very similar to jam. What do we put jam on? Toast. So I thought I'd make a jam on toast style beer using Concord grape concentrate or juice paired with a toasty, bready type of malt. With that idea in mind, I created a Vienna lager base beer paired with the Concord grape juices. And here's the brew day and the recipe that I've come up with for this style. So as you can see, it has about 45% of Vienna malt as its base malt. It has 2.7% Crystal 80. I didn't want this to be too dry. I wanted there to be some residual sweetness in there. I thought Crystal 80 was a good crystal malt to relieve some residual sweetness, some more like cooked, stewed caramel type flavors that may resemble still having some element of the juice in there. I also finished it out, the grain bill, with some Special B. Special B, as we know, when it's fermented, it brings some raisin flavors, which I thought again would pair with the juice that I was using for this style. For my bittering charge, I went with 28 IBUs of hallertauer Mittelfrueh. Any New German noble hop I think would do well here, really in the background just to provide a little bit of balance to the sweetness that I'm trying to get out of here. I ended up using Kedem grape juice. I usually use Welch's concentrate Concord grape in the frozen section, but I could not find it. I ended up using 2 bottles. Here it's only 1 bottle, but I ended up using 2 bottles of Kedem grape juice. And then I fermented with White Labs 820, which is their Oktoberfest Märzen lager strain. I did do a single infusion mash of 150 degrees for 75 minutes. And let's just jump right into the making of this beer. Here we go. Here's a basic setup of my mini rims. You can see I've got a screen down there, a tube coming out. Tube comes out here. Goes into my mini solar pump. Up my heating coil, or heating stick. Got a regulating valve here to choke it, and then it returns back at the top. This tube split, cut many spots. Over here I use bain-marie pots. I think they're 2.5 gallon bain-marie. I'm just heating them up right now on the stove. So I can do everything in the kitchen with this setup. It's pretty good. It makes 1 gallon batches. That's it. 1 gallon batch, that's all you need. And my grain's all milled. Put some rice hulls in there just because got Vienna Malt as the base malt, Crystal 80, and a little bit of Special B. Just trying to hit that raisin note. See how it does with this style. It's my PID controller, set to 65 or 150 Fahrenheit. It's coming out of the bottom. Pump's working. You can barely hear it. I'm choking back the flow. It's returning the top. It's my small mini rims. We're just coming up to 150. And we're mashing in. Smells delicious. That cracker, graham cracker, bready Vienna with the Crystal 80, I think, to give it some sweetness, and a Special B for the raisin. I think it's going to be a good beer. All right, I recalibrated it. We're 3 degrees Celsius below, about 6 Fahrenheit. Got a good recirculation going, so you can see ice holes are doing their job. It's not the greatest sparge arm in the world. Put a couple binder clips on here to hold it in place, but you see we've got good recirculation. We're at 65. Let's check. Make sure we're calibrated here.
Well, actually, you have a good idea.
Let's see, it should be 150, so we'll check. Kids doing homework in the back. 149, close enough. Let it sit there at 149 for an hour. We got 47 minutes left. All right, we hit our 60 minutes. Now we're coming up to mash out. Let's see where we are. Not quite there yet. Still good recirculation. That wort looks like dirty grape juice, so might be on the right path here. We're gonna do a batch sparge here. So first thing I'll do is I've turned off the power supply. Let it recirculate just to suck out some more of the heat out of this thing. Once that's done, I'll slowly turn it off via the valve. Turn off the pump. Close this. Actually, leave that open. Take these binder clips off. Hard to do this with one hand. Lift it up above the water line. Open it up. And take off that clip. Sorry about the bad angle. So now, clipped it off. Well, liquid line's there, so I'm not going to lose any wort. And I take this out. Gosh, it really is hard to do with one hand. Since I'm batch sparging, I'm just gonna crank it. That's the first runoff. Go to the pot of water over here. should start flowing again. Alright, we're done with the mash out. I'm going to turn off the power. Let's soak some of that heat up so it doesn't scorch. It'll scorch in here if I turn off the pump immediately. Ready? Slowly turn off the pump. I'm just going to pour this into. I'm just going to pour this in there until I get the level I know. I've used this so many times. Made 99 batches on this system in 2017, so I know that this is where it's calibrated to. It has a pretty high boil off rate. A little more. And I'll take an original gravity. That's good. Yeah. I can make 5 beers at once. I don't use it anymore for that. I'm going to use this digital refractometer. So let's put a little distill and zero it out. Zero. Shooting for, should be right at about 1.040, I believe, crude oil. So that's 10 bricks. And just if there's any residual sugars on this syringe or water, I'm soaking it in, and let's see how this works. Very hot, so let's let it stabilize first. Stabilized. Let's read. 10 bricks is what I'm looking for. 9.4, pretty close. 2.4 gravity. All right. When this comes to a boil, we'll start you back up. Starting to get to a boil. Add my hops. I've got half an ounce of hallertauer Mittelfrueh added. I'm going to boil it 60 minutes. Look at that. Make sure they get in there. I tasted the wort. It's very sweet. It's got a deep sweetness, a grainy sweetness in the finish. I think will pair very well with the grapes. I'm going to put that entire bottle over there. I think it's 32 ounce of 32 full ounces. Putting the entire bottle in here once it's boiled down a little bit. Do want to boil the grape juice, so I am going to put the entire bottle in there. Just don't have the space right now, and I'll catch you when I do that. Okay, so I'm just got my chiller over here recirculating with some boiling water. It will be boiling shortly, so that will be sanitized. And I am going to put in, I've got 37 minutes left before I add my finings and my yeast nutrient and my Brew B. I don't know if the stuff actually works, but we'll see. I use it in just about every beer. We'll go ahead and add in this slowly. Try to keep it at a boil. I won't show the whole thing, but put in a little, let it die down, get back to a boil, put in a little bit more. Got the, I won't show the whole thing, but this whole jug will go in here. And we'll see in a few minutes. Okay, so a little bit of a change of plans. I did not like the way the balance between the maltiness and the grape flavors was, with one basically a half or a quarter gallon of juice. So I tasted it and I didn't like it, so I put in 2 and tasted it again, and I'm getting a good balance of the malty toasted malts versus the sweet grape juice. So gonna have to do probably a 90-minute boil to get it to where the volume that I want and the right hop balance, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. So here we go, just gotta get back up to a boil. Well, the wort and must is boiled down to where I'm comfortable with where we are, so I'm gonna start the 10 minutes of, I'll put in my finings and my yeast nutrient. And I just want to show you the color real quick. Clean that off. It's got a, I think when it, you know, the stuff settles out, it'll have a nice purple color to it, or brown. But I'm happy with the taste, the balance between the graininess and the malt and the must, the fruitiness from the grapes. So we'll just see how it turns out. This is a unique one for me too. Ended up at 15.7 bricks. Done with the boil. It's a good color. Now off to chill. So I've chilled off camera, and here's the final product. Still got some protein in there that needs to drop out, but interesting color. It's about room temperature now. I'll chill it overnight and then pitch. So I'm going to rack the Italian Grape Ale into one of my mini kegs, cannonball kegs, and we'll speed through that. I'm just going to use a auto siphon, and I've already purged, already cleaned and sanitized. It's full of CO2 right now, but I'll purge it after. There's my CO2 tank. Purge it after I fill, so we'll do that real quick. If you get a 14 psi, 14.4, which is 1 bar, 1 atmosphere. I'm going to do that now. I am at 15 psi. If you don't have a Star San spray bottle, get yourself one. And if right now, if I let it equalize, it's at 50% CO2, 50% air. Because I've doubled the pressure in there. And then if I bleed it, okay, and then I fill it again. I cut that in half. Now I've got, what, 25%? 25% air? Cut that in half each time. You get to a point of diminishing returns. So this could be my last one. And that's it. I'll keep it pressurized. And next will be bottling. Thanks. So were you able to find your recipe? Maybe to just
yeah, I do. I've got it. I got it pulled up. So I did an extract recipe because I'm just not set up for all grain. So I used 6.6 pounds of pale ale liquid malt extract and 5 pounds of Riesling concentrate that was left over from a Riesling kit that I used to make a piment with a friend of mine who was learning how to brew. And then did a little bit of specialty grains. So we did 4 ounces of just wheat, 8 ounces of Belgian biscuit, and 8 ounces of Crystal 90L. All of that was like recommended. It seemed to come up often when I looked for Italian Grape Ale recipes. So I figured, why break something that if it's not broken? Why reinvent the wheel anyway? But I am not an expert at crafting beer recipes. So
that's pretty smart.
This was I kind of took your suggestion as a challenge. So I kind of borrowed from recipes that I found online and then did the Riesling concentrate as my own kind of riff on it. And then for hops, I used Cascade for bittering, and then I used Waiiti for the aroma hops in it. So I think I did Waiiti right at the end of the boil.
That's right. You're going for that fruity.
Yeah. Something to accentuate the Riesling flavor, and so I had to kind of treat that delicately too. So I know that's a hop that I had never used, but man, when you open that thing up, the aroma in that is so intense. It's like perfumey, and it's got like apricot, pear kind of like, it's a really nice, and I think this was like it was like 2% alpha acid, like it was a real low alpha acid hop. So it was an interesting choice, I felt like. I ended up using a Kveik yeast. It was one that I had washed and dried myself. And so
which Kveik strain, what did you use, do you know?
So this one I used Hornindal in.
Hornindal, okay, yeah, awesome. So, all right, so which one should we try first?
Let's start with yours.
Okay, cool.
I'm just going to hold them up so the camera can see.
Oh my, they look very similar.
Yeah, so this one is yours. It's in a chilled glass, so it's like a little frosty looking. Try and get some of the condensation off of there. Pretty darn similar.
Cool. Pretty see-through.
Yeah. And yours, I'm noticing that yours has a much stronger cascade of bubbles than the one that I poured off my keg here.
Oh, yeah. Pretty well carbonated.
Yeah.
Don't know if that was intentional or residual sugars. Get grape right off the
Yeah.
front of the.
I mean, you're right about that, like jammy kind of aromatic on the nose anyway.
Yeah. It smells good.
Yeah. Smells like beer.
Smells pretty. Smells, yeah.
Oh,
It's
that
not
drink's
bad.
so much different than the one I put together. You're right. There
Oh,
are
really?
some of those kind of crackery, graham crackery, bready notes that kind of hit at the back of the palate. But the middle,
Yes.
that wash over, is all grape. It's a real good,
It's all great.
yeah.
I wish it were balanced more on the beer side. I'm a beer guy, right? But you do get the graham cracker in the back end of the taste. I want more of that. So I might put some biscuit in there if I did this again, just to get some more cracker flavor into the beer. So yeah,
Yeah, I like that
the
a lot.
lager.
You're right. It's got a PB&J kind of thing going on. I think I might want a little bit more body on it, but I like
Yeah,
chewy beers. Just something to like elevate that grape flavor just a little bit, which may, bolstering up that grain for the graham cracker may be enough to build the body underneath that too. I like it a lot.
yeah. I can mash it a little higher. I like it too. I can make it a little bigger. I mean, it turned out a lot better than I thought it would. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm really pleased with this. I would have more than one. That's for sure. It's
yeah,
interesting.
me too.
People
The
try
only
and
thing
get that.
that kind of detracts.
What's that?
Go ahead. Yeah, I think we're on a lag here, but go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say people try and get that peanut butter and jelly kind of flavor in mead a lot, and it's so interesting. Like they'll try lots of different things, like boiling peanuts for long periods of time, and then chilling that and scraping the oil off the top. I've had mead that had actual chunks of graham cracker in it in secondary to give it that kind of graham cracker biscuity flavor. But what you achieved with the grains here, I think arguably might be better than any of the things in the mead world that I've tried that have that kind of bready, peanutty kind of flavor to them. It's really interesting that you're able to achieve that just with the grain bill.
Thanks. I like it. Like I said, I think it turned out better than I expected. The one thing that detracts to me is there's a little bit of astringency from the grapes, which is expected. But to me, it's just a flavor that if I didn't have that, it would be a much smoother thing to drink.
Interesting. See, I kind of like that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe that's because I come from the like wine and mead world more than beers, but I like that kind of. It's right at the front of your tongue, that kind of astringent kind of sensation. So do you want to try the Riesling?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
variant?
try the Riesling.
So we had done a Pyment with Riesling and orange blossom honey, and the kit we ordered was supposed to be a low-bodied Riesling kit, and what we got sent was a medium-bodied Riesling kit. So we ended up not using all the Riesling. So when you said, let's do a grape ale, I thought, oh, what better way to use up the rest of the Riesling than to throw it into my wort.
It smells more. I actually get more wort type or malt or beer type aromas than I do the grape, which is the opposite of mine.
Yeah, yeah. Yours is all grape on the nose. This has like a malty kind of. It almost, this is going to sound bad, but I can talk bad about my own beer since I'm not a beer guy, but it kind of smells like that kind of stale beer smell that you smell as you're leaving a baseball park after the game.
That's
hangs out over the
I
glass.
kind of liken it to extract twang, what we call it.
Okay.
So you can almost tell it's an extract beer.
Interesting.
I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Well, I'm gonna go in for a taste. Ooh, that's smooth.
Mine had a little extra time to
like
sit
that.
around.
Yeah, that's good. It doesn't, because you use Riesling grapes, it doesn't have that astringency that I don't like about mine. And it's more grape, it's subtle grape, but it's better balanced, I think, than mine. Between the maltiness and the grape, or the mustiness, I guess.
Yeah, and that
Yeah, that's
may be
good.
because I think mine is about a month and a half older than yours. So it had,
Yeah.
I think, some time to sit and mellow a little bit.
I like that one. That's really good. This may be a style I'll explore some more now. I like the Riesling. I think the Riesling hop pairing, you nailed it. You know,
Yeah,
that
the wavy is
fruitiness.
interesting. It kind of comes in at the back of your tongue there on the exhale. And so it's like
That's good.
kind of a malty Riesling washing back. And then when you exhale, you're getting those hop aromatics and almost the sourness of the Riesling. Whereas yours
Yeah,
kind of washes
yours is,
down like a peanut butter jelly sandwich. They're
mine's really
so
dry, and
different.
yours. I know, it's unbelievable. I mean, mine is. They look very similar, but
They
they're very
do.
different tastes. Mine is a lot drier, and yours has much more body. I love the body in yours. They're both good. Well, that concludes this episode of Mean Brews. If you get a chance, check out BC's YouTube channel, Doin the Most. He's doing some really interesting stuff with fermented products, and I highly recommend it. Thanks, and next video will be California Common. Bye-bye.